Hello there, and welcome to Unenlightened. I'm Austin, and we're going to be doing things a little bit differently today because the footage I got for this whole project just kind of turned out to be bad. To make a long story short, I'm still trying to figure out how to make videos in VR. I kind of started to get a little more of a hang of it by the third stream. What I'm going to do is switch up the format a little bit. I'm going to be talking you through the project as we go. And what I was working on was I have this forlorn dream of making a video game. I have a very broad concept in mind, and I've been kind of playing around with ideas. It's based in a story concept that I used to want to write back when I was in school, a fantasy world. I decided to try and pivot that into a video game. So this is a character that I call the Leviathan. It's good. Non-specific, big, scary undersea monster kind of name. And that's what we're making. So here's kind of how things started. I knew that I wanted something that was kind of in the same vein as like those big snaky Chitauri monsters from the original Avengers movie. I wanted like this big segmented flying millipede kind of a monster. And so what I wanted to start with was the scariest front end, just big gaping maw. So I built that front section to match with like this big burly kind of arm shape, but they aren't arms, they're really more part of the mouth. It'll make more sense later on. So I knew where I was going for that, but I was kind of struggling with the rest of the face. I'll let Stream Me tell you.
What are the eyes gonna look like? Should I do two big like saucer eyes? Or should I do like a bunch of beady little eyes like a spider?
I ended up going very exoskeletal, creepy, crawly, lots of little pointy, sticky legs and shell and, just very buggy. And so I did end up matching that by doing the creepy spider eye thing. It ended up being really weird, especially when we scooped them out so that it'll work better as a functional model, because you want those eyes to be cavities, but I'm going to take a pause and let the other guy update you.
We have those broad shapes that we flattened out with the brush at the very, very beginning of this, and we're going to use those to decide what our panels are. So there's kind of a triangular extra panel here, and then you've got this panel that takes up that flat surface. Then there's another panel here, and then there's one more right there in front of that.
So about now you might be thinking to yourself, did we talk about those tendril things coming out of its mouth? And no, we didn't. I just kind of glazed over it because it was a bit of a clunky situation, but so you can see that it just kind of, I used like a stabilized brush and just swept them out. It worked for the most part. Animating them is going to be a little weird. I think the pose for this in general needs to be evened out for just like the T-pose. But all in all, first phase was pretty good. With that outer shell starting to take place, I wanted to cover the underside of those front protrusions, and it's supposed to be more a part of the mouth, not really arms or appendages, so I wanted it to have this kind of fleshy underbelly feel. And I did that by putting these ridges and folds into the surface. I think it really worked to evoke the feeling I was looking for. We've got this really strong presence from this front section of the body. The next two streams were focused more on repeating that success.
We've got our gaping maw here, but since we're warming up, before I tighten up that paneling and make some more progress on that, we're just going to warm up by doing some new panel sections.
This was a pretty straightforward process of just trying to copy that same shape that I defined with the first segment with the head and face and mouth and everything. Just copy that outline, that silhouette back through individual segments along the entire length of the beast. At this point I was struggling a lot with the tendrils getting in the way of everything I was trying to work on. I definitely should have waited to do a detail like that toward the very end, and once again, they should be laid out perfectly straight.
There we go. That's more or less what we're looking for. So we're going to go through and try and smooth some of this out. And then we will try to add the next panel. Actually, I think I'm going to carry this over the top a little bit so that it does something similar. That looks, you know what, that looks very Gyarados-y, doesn't it? Is that really a bad thing? I'm allowed to pay homage to things. It's not like it's a Gyarados. I don't think anybody's going to confuse it for one. It doesn't seem likely. It does have a hanging open mouth, to be fair. Maybe this is like parallel universe horror Gyarados.
Here you're seeing just a lot of like fine detail cleanup and going through just smoothing things out, taking off hard edges from the tool and anything to just make it look a little more organic and natural and even surfaced. If you want to see all that in full detail, that's the kind of thing that you can check out over on the second channel where I post the VODs. Or you could hop on over to the Twitch stream, chime in, join in the conversation, throw out ideas, help me work through the project while I'm still figuring it out. We tend to work on this project on Mondays in the mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern time. For the next couple of weeks here, I'm going to be focusing on something a little more nuts and boltsy with this project, working on NPC movement. So if you're interested in coding, we'll be working on that. If you're more interested in the modeling, we'll be back to that in a couple of weeks, and we'll be doing more IRL art on Wednesdays. So, you know, get active in the community. It's a fun group of people.
So what I want to see here is what legs are going to look like. And I think I want to keep something similar to this. So I think I'm going to go down and back, and then up and forward. And then we want one that's kind of angled and almost going straight down. That's a big paneled one like this. And then one going back. And those will be the legs. And if that doesn't make sense, you're about to watch it happen. I think the objective here is to we want to continue these segments all the way down the line to the end, and that should be good.
From here on out, things were pretty straightforward, and that's kind of what I ran into with this project, not really having a huge amount to show other than the progress. And copying those shapes down the body of the Leviathan worked great. The only problem was I was just starting to figure out a better system for VR streaming to Twitch, and I found myself with a lot of technical difficulties, and we had to stop early. So the model actually isn't completely done, but the next time you see it, that last little bit that's missing from the tail will be added along with copying the rest of the legs down the line. But I actually wanted to talk about that, because one of the things I learned here is that even though I can sculpt the whole monster at once, I shouldn't. I thought the program could handle it, but it seems like part of the reason I was running into technical difficulties was because I was trying to do this whole thing at once. So as the model got bigger and more complicated, more polygons, more nonsense, more everything, the computer started to slow down. I wasn't able to stream. I wasn't able to record. So I'm going to be finishing that off, and the next time you see it, it'll be a couple of weeks from now, and we'll be revisiting it to add some animation and to introduce a new model, which will be a fire dragon kind of monster. Traditional fire dragon. And at that, I will leave you with this look at what the progress is as we sit right now. If you want to keep updated on that, please do follow over on the Discord and hit us up over on Twitch. Join the chat, join the conversation. You can talk about the builds in real time, figure things out with us. It's a lot of fun. Share your artwork. We have Creative Corner every Wednesday. It's a good community full of people that like to share creativity and learn new things together, and we'd love to have you be a part of it. If you want to support what we're doing over here on the channel, there's tons of cool merch over on the store. There's the Patreon if you want to do it that way. Links to all of this stuff can be found in the description or on the website. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been a blast as always. I want to thank the patrons. Jakob, Melody, and Hermit, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I will see you next time. And until then, take care.